That's why they frame the definition of freedom as the freedom to do what I want. Yeah. Fascists nowadays actually do invoke freedom a lot. Now, like, in the days of Nazi Germany, it was less common. They would still do it, like, the freedom from Jewish control. Like, that was a thing that was said occasionally in the 1930s, in the lead up to the Holocaust. But the talk of freedom is much more common now, and I think that's because America is one of the largest cultural exporters of fascism, and America's very libertarianism pilled. They don't like the fascism, like the fascists do not like fascism when they are subject to it. They like it when they're doing it to somebody else, but they don't like when those rules are then turned around against them. You know, fascism for thee, not for me. You know? And in a way, this sort of primal anti-fascism of the fascists, the primal libertarian desire of the fascists to be free, as I imagine most people want to be, is one of the greatest obstacles to fascism. Because in most other respects, fascists are willing to fucking hack and slash and burn and, you know, pull everything down to the ground in their wake. You know, they don't care what they destroy, for the most part, as long as it's not theirs. Then, you know, something's going wrong. With these people having so much power for our history, it's a miracle we got this far. In a way, one thing that's notable is that the state, the set of institutions that composes the state, up until the 20th century, they were quite small. The state now is as big and as capable of authoritarian and totalitarian control as it has literally ever been. You know? The state has only increased in size throughout history. Especially if we're talking more recent history from the 1800s up until now, states have ballooned to massive sizes, primarily because of the advancements in telecommunications technology and, well, you know, shit that invades a lot of people's privacy, and the ability basically to project force over longer and longer distances down to smaller and smaller levels, and also, to an extent, the ability to build more and more specific infrastructure for more and more people. As much as the state has expanded due to its ability to, well, ruin your life and point a gun to your head in more scenarios, it has also, you know, increased in size due to its ability to say, you know what, we're stepping in. Now you get food for free. Now you get housing at a greatly reduced cost. Now I can, with the long arm of the state, I can sweep by, and your life is easier now. You, the average person. That, in large part, is what is attributable to the state having so much power right now. You know? And that is, you could simultaneously see that as both a success and a failure of social democracy, given what the infrastructure of the state entails, precisely because it is capable of so much good and also so much violence. But it is what it is. And you know, I could be doing the whole, like, liberal, nothing ever happens brain rot, but I genuinely think that with how large the state infrastructure is worldwide, if it were turned wholly against the citizenry, if there was a genuine fascist mobilization of the state in all of its areas of life, to exert the kind of control that you would see in Hitler's Germany, in Stalin's Russia, in Oceania, or any of the other countries in 1984, I do think that they wouldn't be able to do it. Both because of the public outrage, and because fascists are just not competent enough for that. You know? Not for very long, anyways. That's why I don't think Trump's not going... That's why Trump's not going all in immediately. That could very well be why. You know, the billionaires and the owning class is very aware that there are limits to what they can get away with. You know, they're very careful not to step on the toes of the sleeping giant that is the working class in their in their effort to basically prevent the dialectic from resolving. Hello, Editing Y2K here. This is just one part of a multi-part series of me ranking all the ideologies that I know enough about to comment on. It took place over the course of 2 live streams earlier in the year, and the other parts will be all available on a playlist if you're interested. Please check it out, and thank you for watching.